So when I first came to you with a million questions, I was saying to myself, like, how did we get here? Like, on the surface, it feels a lot like there's been mistakes made, or we did not live within our budget, or why can't the committee stay within their budget? So, in your kind of research and interpretation, like, what do you think? Like, what brought us here? Is it a bad thing?
So I think that anyone that's spending millions of dollars can spend their money more efficiently. Like, it's good that the public is looking at what the schools and the towns spend their money on. Like, this is a good thing because it makes people feel like, one, they're being watched. There's a lot of accountability. Like, I also think that there's a good chunk of us out in Belchertown, like, I just want to trust my elected officials so I don't have to worry about it, because you're sitting in that 3-hour meeting and I want you to do that.
That is me.
That's what we really want. And sometimes those elected officials will kind of like raise this big flag and they'll wave it, like our school committee is doing right now. And they're going to say, we need you.
Right.
Because they're cutting and cutting and cutting and no one's watching except us. That's where we're in. Like, that's what we're living in. They were saying you're cutting, I think it was 17 people last year.
Right.
They're going to cut 30.
And that, right, like, in some ways felt like it just kind of blew over. Like, it just happened. And to think 17 positions in our school education system is a ton.
It's a lot.
So truly it feels like, when we're looking at it from that angle, like, this is the cut that will devastate our school system.
Well, this cut is 30 people.
Right.
So like the thing that no one really, who hasn't worked in a school, is thinking about, like, is in order for all these great little programs to function, in order for the kid to learn music in 2nd and 3rd grade and be passed up to middle school and be part of that middle school band who we're super proud of as they're walking down, down the street during the parade, like, in order for that to happen, there were thousands of little things that happened along the way and all these little relationships between teachers, so that, one, the kid got to practice in 2nd grade. And then that kid practiced and held the instrument the right way. And then when he got to middle school, he wanted, or she wanted, to be part of the band. Like, in order for that to happen, you needed tons of relationships. And when you cut 17 people and then 30 people, those relationships just get blown up. And people end up in all sorts of places. It is very disruptive to a building's morale, especially when it's done like that with very little warning. We don't want our kid in that classroom with the teacher who's like, I guess I'm here now.
Sure.
That's not the situation that we want our kids in.
Right. We want the teachers to feel, to just lay this positivity. That's what we think as parents. Is I'm sending, I have a 1st grader, I'm sending her to school, and they're loving and caring for her, in the way that I'm hoping that they do. But if they have more kids in their classroom, and let's be honest, there are definitely more needs across the board, that they're not able to give my child maybe what she needs or what we hope for.
But then you hear people say, well, enrollment's going down. It is. Right. Enrollment's going down, and that's why you need a 5-year plan to basically say, this is how much it's going down each year. This is when this building is small enough to be absorbed by this one, because this grade can go up and this grade is going to fit and it's not going to impact class sizes. But then that should be presented to parents and people in town who are concerned about education, so that we can hear what that plan is. Right. And then the kids who are really fragile can be like prepped, so that they know where they're gonna be next year, and they know that this big change might be coming, because there's a lot more fragile kids than there used to be. And whether or not that's a societal problem or a COVID problem, it doesn't matter what the cause was. We have the problem and we're going to have to deal with it. And so we got to make sure that these things are done in a really smart way. And when it's only motivated by a budget and it's basically being forced down somebody's throat, it's hard to do it well in 2-3 months.
Yeah. No, that has been a very disheartening kind of conversation for me, while just out in the community and talking to people, is that it does not feel like it comes down to the actual children as people. It's the schools, it's the budget, it's the money, it's the taxes, it's, and for me, it's my daughter, right? It's my kids who will be going through this school system. But on the other, side of the coin, I think, I'm not alone in wondering, like, has the school committee done their due diligence to prep for the future changes? Like, they know enrollment's decreasing. Should we have close cold spring? Those are so many of those questions. Can we combine, the high school is, I might be wrong, like 60% capacity. Why can't we move other kids into that school? So walk me through that. And I realize that it takes a while, but a lot of community members are wondering the same thing.
Yeah, so there's a lot of questions there.
Question.
And I think a school committee member might be even better. So like their answers might be a little different, but this would be my thesis, and I would encourage them to push back to whatever I say. Hopefully they'll sit here with you and they can say, actually, Jake was close, it's more this. So my thinking would be, the high school, I know, was designed for grades 9 through 12. And when you think about putting 8th or 7th into a building with a 12th grader, there's a big age gap, a big maturity difference there, and you want to make sure that your 13-year-old girl feels safe and that you feel comfortable with whatever bathroom they end up in. And so that's what I mean by the community should hear what the plan is for what this grade rearrangement looks like.
Right.
And so even though a building is only at 60% capacity, doesn't mean it was designed for 13-year-olds and 18-year-olds.